Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Currency of Anarchy. I'm Josh Davis.
Michael Freeman.
Yeah, and you can find us during the live tapings at youtube.com/user/Cur-of-Anarchy on Mondays at 9 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific. And you can see the final product at youtube.com/Cur-of-Anarchy Wednesdays at 3 p.m. And you can, chat with us live if you're here right now. We've got the Q&A feature going right now, as of right now. So check that out, and in the meantime, we got a word from our sponsors.
Holly Cogburn runs Homebody, a body care, vanity, and cosmetic products company. She contracts using USD, Bitcoin, homebody products, and fresh produce. She is proud to say that she started the business without the assistance of bank loans. In her words, fuck bank loans and fuck their interest rates. For the most part, fuck banks. She paid for costs out of pocket and has steadily and sustainably grown from there. She believes in a free, fair, and reputation-based market, so please find Holly at homebodyco.com or facebook.com/homebodyco. Introducing a customized media player with no monthly fees. A one-time purchase and installation of this device and you're ready to watch the latest movies and TV shows for free. Anything you can imagine or want to watch can be found on the box connected to your home internet connection. These units are locked and loaded using Android and Linux technology. You get access to over 7,000 channels all over the world, live, including sporting events, pay-per-view, wrestling, boxing, and more. Google Play Store comes pre-installed with access to all Android apps, including Popcorn Time, Showbox, Netflix, Facebook, Pandora, and more. All units are rooted and have capability to download or play from a USB or external hard drive. Please call Paul at 978-335-9842 or email him directly at info@paulhennick.com.
Michael, we've got a couple new guests, people that haven't been here in a while too. So, yeah, Michael.
Okay. Hey, and everybody, welcome back to the Currency of Anarchy. This is our monthly roundtable show where we just kind of bring our friends on and hang out and talk shit. So that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to usually the first Monday per month we skip the interview thing and just kind of chill. So we have some returning guests and one new guest. Everybody knows Liberty Doll. Everybody knows who Nikki is. LibertyDoll.com, Liberty Doll on Facebook. There's a YouTube channel, but I'm not sure I should mention that. So what's happening?
I'll update it eventually, I promise.
Yeah, I've only been hearing that.
I feel like I say that every time. Though I did. Last time I did actually put something up, but it was like from the show.
That's cool. We don't believe in intellectual property here at the Currency of Anarchy. Feel free to pirate and redistribute anything we ever do, even if it's context.
I will pirate the shit out of you.
So then we got Dave coming in from the Seeds of Liberty podcast, which is another pretty similar show to ours, a little different. What's happening with you, buddy?
Just popped on here, man. I added you the other day because of your video that you put out, and it I really enjoyed that video a lot. It was short, sweet, and very emotion filled, and I really liked that. I like when people use their emotions behind their ration, and not their emotions behind their irrational thoughts. And that was good, man. I was like, I've got to add this guy. I've got to talk to this guy, and that's about it, man. You said come on the show. I said cool. I'm not, I'll skip watching Monday Night Raw. That's fine. Don't.
I don't know. I think Raw might be a better show than the Currency of Anarchy.
Oh no!
Hey, putting us down. Wow.
Any chance to gain more people to migrate to Ancapistan, I'm down for.
I do appreciate what you just said, and I'm sure it's going to come up, but I don't want to address that just yet. I'd like to kind of stay more on topic. Yeah, there's lots to say. Pretty fucking scared for my life right now, but okay. So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and everything you just said about that, and it's pretty humbling to me. I'm just pretty upset with the current state of affairs, and I just had to yell at my cell phone, and that's all. Okay, so next to me here we have Jon Moss, who's a regular guest from the Currency of Anarchy. I'm sorry, New Sons and Daughters of Liberty.
Well, it might as well be Currency too. Nice. All right. Yeah. So now that we've got everybody straight, I guess the first thing in line to talk about is just Baltimore. That's like duh, you know. Yeah. I mean Baltimore, man. I don't even know what to make of it because, like, I know people on Facebook that are going down there, you know, and they're saying they're not trying to start nothing, but they're going down there with their anonymous masks and all that stuff, and you know they're gonna blow something up or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think the media is giving a different story than what's actually happening on the streets.
Yes.
So that everyone's being essentially propagandized by the media to think that there's this big event going on in Baltimore, but I just saw some video today where it's like people are riding around, they're happy, they're trying to rebuild some stuff, and you know, who knows exactly? Unless you're down there, you really don't know what's going on down there.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I even saw something earlier today. I don't know if it's true, but it was supposed to be like a screenshot from Fox News or something, and they were saying, "Oh, this is Baltimore, and there's flames, and there's smoke." And it just looks like this crazy war scene, but supposedly it was actually a photo of Venezuela.
Are you talking about our socialist paradise?
Well, I mean, I just saw that when I was like cruising around Facebook today, and I didn't really like Google to see if it was legit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Wow. Yeah, John, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy. I mean, on one hand, you've got the Baltimore riots, and which is in direct response to the Freddie Gray killing. But there's also been so many other police killings across the country where riots didn't erupt. So I'm wondering if maybe the socioeconomic status of Baltimore had anything to do with that. Another thought is that why are these people burning down CVS? And furthermore, I've seen pictures. Why the fuck are they standing in front of the police officers?
Right.
I just can't put two and two together. These people killed an innocent person, so we're going to riot, but don't hurt the people who killed the innocent person. I can't put two and two together. I really don't. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's the worst part right there.
Like, yeah, like why, you know, go burn down a police station or City Hall. What are you burning down CVS for? CVS didn't shoot Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray, I mean.
Well, I mean, there's other reasons to burn down CVS, mainly because they use IP laws propped up by the fascist state. But I mean, that's not really pertinent to.
Yeah.
But that's not really pertinent to the situation there.
Yeah.
They should be burning down. They should be occupying the city hall. They should be occupying the police department, not letting anyone get in.
Right. Yeah, you know what's messed up is I think that, like, they got a lot of people down there that are trying to help others in a way, but then, like you were saying, the media kind of comes in and changes the story. And in one case, I was noticing one guy was maced, and you know, so his face was all screwed up, and you know, they were. He looked like he looked really fucked up and everything. But he was trying to be peaceful about it. He wasn't trying to fight the cops that were, fighting him. And, the media spun it like they were trying to pay attention to all the people that were surrounding this, all the cops and this guy that was maced, the people that were fighting back against the cops. And it's wrong. The question is, who's responsible for all of these situations? And in almost every case at the moment, it's the cops. And you don't hear about that because they're guys on pedestals, and we gotta keep them up there. And
yeah, I try and see both sides of the story here. On one hand, I sit here and say, yeah, go violently kill these people who won't stop violently killing us.
that's
And
it.
on the other hand, I kind of see where they're blocking the police officers and saying, don't throw rocks at the police because by attacking the police, now you're giving them legitimacy. Now you're giving them carte blanche to just start killing everybody and start spraying everybody. So I don't know where I stand with that. But my open question to everybody is: at what point do you start shooting back?
Right.
Well, I mean, as long as
All right. I haven't spoken in a while.
okay.
Yeah, go.
Tendency of skipping me with topics. Sorry, I don't know if you guys heard my awesome cell phone noise though.
It's all the same topic, dude. We're good.
No, I'm pretty fucking sympathetic to the cause, man. The entire human race is violently enslaved. Over 40% of our income is violently extorted from us, backed up by the threat of murder. And fuck CBS, fuck them. They're a government, IP laws. They are a government corporation, a legally created entity. Fuck CBS. Burn CBS to the damn ground. That has nothing to do with the damn free market. That shit wouldn't exist. I'm sorry. I'm sympathetic to the cause. I'm equally upset as the rioters and the protesters. I kind of want to go smash shit too, because caged animals, humans shouldn't be in captivity, and when they are, they act irrationally. This is expected behavior in the land of the state. Of course, people are going to lose their minds. Come poke me with this. We were talking, John's wife and I were talking earlier about, when I'm asleep, you just come pick me up and fucking move me somewhere else. I'm going to be pretty upset, and I'm not really going to be acting with principled action. I'm going to be making a radical decision, an irrational decision, and that is expected when you are violently dominated, I think.
Yeah. It's hard to follow up on that for me because the real cause of all of this, the ultimate cause of the irrational everything, is government. And the problem is corporations now are a figment of government. So all of it is absolutely true. It's just that when you try to burn down a business, you're missing the mark. You're not actually hitting it on the head. You're not.
There is no mark. There is no mark. These riots and stuff are not happening because of principled philosophical ideas. It's happening because people are caged and they're losing their fucking minds. It has nothing to do with ideals or ideologies. It has nothing to do with that. They just don't know what to do because they're getting fucking shot all the time.
Well, it's interesting that you put it in the context of saying, well, this is what happens when people are caged. They act irrationally, they riot, they do all these crazy things. It reminds me actually of, I don't know if any of you have heard of the Stanford prison experiment. It was this psychological and sociological experiment that was done in the 70s where they basically took the basement of Stanford University and turned it into a mock prison. And they took all these mentally healthy volunteers that were mostly college students, and they randomly assigned them to roles of prisoner or prison guard. And the experiment was supposed to take place over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, but they actually had to cut it short after I think only 4 or 5 days because people were put into these cages and they just instantly fell into the role of prisoner and prison guard, and things got violent, and there were hunger strikes, and there were riots, and people were getting severely injured and had to go to the hospital, and the chaos and violence and just irrational, illogical thought that came out of it was so severe that over just the course of a few days, like I said, they had to cut it short because people were in danger. It was an imminent risk, and it made me think of that when you likened the riots to people reacting to their cages, because that is exactly what happens. There is no principled philosophical thought, as you said. It's just pure emotional reactionism, and I think that that's what's happening.
You put it a lot more astutely than I do, but yeah.
My question is, since this is cyclical, this happens every time we create a new government. You know what I'm saying? Every time a new government is created, then, you know, eventually there will be a revolution, and the same thing kind of happens almost every time, correct? The question is, how do we break the cycle? You know, we are trying to, you know, spread the message of liberty and try to be logical about all of this, but it's not happening. So how do we go about that? How do we break the cycle?
Destroy the belief in authority.
You don't. It's a fantasy, and it's never going to happen. That's right.
Well, that's sort of pessimistic.
I'm pretty fucking pessimistic, Nikki. Why would I not be? There's thousands of years of evidence for me to not have have very high hopes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there was a supposed anarchist, possibly libertarian society in like ancient Ireland or something that was supposedly around for about 1,000 years. Murray Rothbard wrote about it at one point. So, I mean, it's possible. But I think the most vital part is education. I mean, the way that society is, or at least our society is right now, at this moment, there are too many people that are dependent on the system and can get something out of it, can get some benefit out of it. And of course, you are not going to decide, yes, you know, I want to get rid of this thing that benefits me somehow, because ultimately people want things that benefit them. It's the whole reward principle. Like, why would I go through all this extra work when I can get this thing or that thing for free? So I think it's a matter of educating people and teaching people about how, okay, well, yeah, so you're getting this free shit, but it really hurts you in all these other ways. I mean, you can't have, you know, these grand philosophical ideas without the morals and the philosophy that's behind it.
Right.
To go back to Ross,
that agorism has a big part of it too. Like, if the state can't gather money, then they can't function.
To go back to Rothbard really quick, unfortunately, the button doesn't exist.
But
Not yet.
Well, as long as people are out there and are willing to be duped into the false sense of security that government provides, there will always be a government of some sort. Even if you got down to this strict minarchist paradise, you know, utopian idea of government, you would still have people that wholeheartedly believe in that false sense of security and authority, the right to rule. And until people are willing to drop that belief, that almost religious belief in authority, it's never going to happen.
No, it is a religious belief. Anyway, moving on. Nikki?
I think if it does happen, it will be similar to the way that Larkin Rose put it in The Iron Web, where you're going to just have, you know, this group of people that, you know, suddenly realize what's going on, and there will be sort of this, like, mass exodus, and you'll have, like, pockets of anarchist and voluntarist communities, and then there's going to be everyone else that's still, you know, doing their little government thing.
And the government killed all of you. And then the government drops bombs on every single one of the anarchists.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but the book didn't end that way.
I know. And the Iron Web's great. The sequel is actually supposed to be coming out every year now for like free, but it should be soon. But yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to ask Michael, would you care to introduce the newcomers who just showed up?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So we got Johnny Liberty from America Today, which is a Facebook page that I strongly recommend you guys go check out. Johnny and I talked yesterday, and it seems like I've convinced him to turn this enterprise to bigger things and try to expand. Because he provides a good service. I laugh my ass off, and I like it.
So you see what I got in store today, buddy. Kent State, May the 4th. Oh man, there's so much going on in the world right now that's available for me, man. I got a lot of great stuff coming up soon.
And May the 4th be with you all.
Did you say Johnny Liberty?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice servant of government. That's my web. That's one of my pages.
Yeah, that's funny too. I like that. I really like satire.
That's my page, man.
So then we got our boy Sheppy, who's come back after quite a while now. It has been a while. It's been too long, but I guess maybe we have some other business ventures going that require other attention. So
Always.
What's up, man?
Nothing. Just right now, focusing on making e-liquid, trying to promote it.
Nice.
Right on. Welcome back. It's been way too long.
Vaping's bad for you, man.
Oh man. So to continue this Baltimore discussion, though, it's funny how a lot of people are trying to say that it's all these murders and such are just due to racism, and so it's brought about Black Lives Matter, and I believe that someone has created a new business based on just Black Lives Matter. That's possible.
Probably.
I don't remember the ins and outs of that one, but personally, it can be spun as white cops killing black cops, or not cops, white cops killing black, civilians, as it were. But it can go the other way too, and it's funny. I've been pulled over due to racism because I'm white, and the cop was white. Long story on that one. I don't believe that it just goes one way, is all I'm trying to say.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I find it actually, look, go look at a prison and tell me there's not more black people in there than white people.
Oh, true, of course. But
You can't tell me that racial profiling does not exist.
Especially adjusted for per capita. When you adjust it for per capita, it's abnormal.
Right, but
mainly because white people can afford lawyers and stuff.
Well, it's not just that, though. I mean, it's just also the fact that a lot of drug deals go down in poor communities because that's how they make money. Mm-hmm. So it's that too. I mean, it's a multitude of things. It's not just racism, but you can profile based on that, which sucks. It's stupid, but it happens.
Yeah, I'm never going to say Black Lives Matter. Absolutely
right.
Never. John and I were talking about this earlier. That's trying to say that one race is more important than another. And, just because you're getting shot in the back and I'm getting shot in the knee does not make me not being a threat. You fucking maniac.
An injury is an injury.
We were in the car. We were in the car driving. We were talking about this and how much it pisses me off that this whole thing has been turned into a race thing when it's really a liberty versus tyranny thing. And I explained. I said, I pointed to another car. I'm like, they'll shoot him. They'll pull him over because he's black. They'll shoot him because he's black. They'll pull him over because he's a white guy with long hair. Michael points to the front of us. He's like, they'll shoot him because he's got an out tail light. Like they will find something to fuck with you with, and it's not just cops are only killing black people. It's the big problem. Cops are killing fucking all of us.
You guys remember Kelly Thomas?
Yep.
Yeah. You guys remember fucking Ruby Ridge?
Yeah.
Children getting shot in the head. White children getting shot in the head. Yeah.
Right. But
I don't want to say. I shouldn't say this. I'm clearly very upset with the current state of affairs. It's fucking us versus them. It's not them versus black people and I don't know Hispanic gangbangers. It's like the government, the gun of government killing everybody in the fucking world and drone bombing weddings and stealing from everyone. That's the problem here.
Right.
There are lots of underlying problems as well, like racism is fucking terrible, rape is fucking terrible, but government is a much bigger problem than all of that.
Well, yeah, especially when you give racism the power of a gun, for sure.
Racism is only powerful with government.
I actually covered this in a meme back during the Ferguson thing when that was going on, and ultimately it's very simple. It's not white cops versus black people, it's the state versus you.
Yep. What lunatic is going to freely associate or freely enterprise with a fucking KKK member in a free market?
Yeah.
No. Crazy people, and they're all
Other
going to
KKK members.
And I would say that there's quite an incentive to eradicate them from the fucking world, right? And the market provides.
A lot of people, especially whites, don't realize that being a racist, being a white supremacist or whatnot, that means you're a collectivist. You're essentially, you're a communist.
Yeah. I don't actually have a problem with racism. I would like to point that out. I think everybody's racist, everybody's prejudiced and judgmental, and there's not much wrong with that. Only when it becomes institutionalized or only when it becomes action. You can think whatever you want to. If you think niggers suck, fine. Okay. But when you start killing people, we have a problem.
I have proof that you're a hypocrite right now, Michael.
I'm a hypocrite all the time, and so are you.
You're dating an Asian girl.
I am.
Yeah. So how are you racist?
I don't think. I don't want to answer. Like, there's no way that I can win because do I think that everybody's racist? I do, and I don't want to contradict myself. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, everybody does it. Everybody does it, and you're lying if you say that you don't.
Well, I think everyone has racial biases.
Racism is differentiating racism, to be quite honest, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. But when you start okay, let's go to the market, right? If you're stopping black people from coming into your business, you're probably not going to make that much fucking money, and morally acting people are probably not going to do business with you. Nevertheless, the fact that black people are not going to do business with you, so that's not the best idea ever. If you start killing people because of their skin color, you're probably going to die. So I'd say that there's the incentive of breeding. Yeah, that's what I think.
All right.
I don't know if I'm a racist. I'm probably a racist. I'm not.
Most likely.
I am probably a racist. Not against any in particular race, but I know that certain people have attributes, and it's a genetic thing that black people are more agile than white people. They are physically stronger. White people are have higher cognitive function than most other races. I'm sorry, these are black.
No, that's actually true.
Women have estrogen in higher levels that men have testosterone, so they have more emotion.
Yep.
These are the facts. I don't think it's bad.
No.
I suck with money, and I'm not the best person ever, and I basically give people advice on economics and morality all the time.
I just wanted to make that clear. Like, I wanted to know where you were coming from. Is all.
Yeah, no, man. Josh, you know that I have no ill will, man. You're black, I'm white, whatever.
That's it. Any other thoughts on this? Sheppy, you got anything? I'm going to put you on the spot on there. No? All right, done. All right, yeah, so we can move right into brutality. It's all the same thing. Like this, Baltimore kind of encompasses this whole thing. And brutality, it just happens like constantly, whether
there's no such thing as police brutality. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's just a made-up term. Police brutality is a cop's job. Their job is enforcement.
Well said.
It's their job. Brutality is their job.
Yep.
We can debate semantics and talk about proportionality of force all we want, but when it comes down to it, a cop is authorized to use any amount of force up to and including murdering you to enforce the law. It's brutality. It's their job.
Yep. I don't think anybody else needs to comment on that one.
No, that was fun. Thank you.
Slam dunk.
But let's move on. Like, okay, let's say there's no such thing as brutality and enforcement. That's it, just enforcement, and that is true. Now the question is there a state at the home? Like there's violence at home, and I needed to slip into here because is violence at home moral? Like and I just mean this as in like spanking a kid. That
Statism
kind of thing.
starts at home.
Okay.
Statism starts at the house. That's where people believe that's where the belief in authority is instilled into children.
Yeah.
I mean, I sure got my ass whipped every day.
Yeah.
Luckily, I turned out to you know.
You knew better.
This whole morality thing is new for me, and it's a learning curve, I think. Violence is illegitimate 100% of the time, and if the person that you're hitting is your offspring who's a child and they can't defend themselves, you're a fucking terrible person.
Right. Okay. Let me bring it back for a second because we were just talking with Walter Block last week, right? And he was saying that, or he was debating Stefan Molyneux about violence versus nonviolence at home. Yep. And he said that in certain cases, or Walter Block said in certain cases, it may be necessary for his or her own good. And,
good ideas don't require force.
Go ahead, Michael.
Good ideas don't require force.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was very, very hard for me to try to tell Walter Block that he's wrong. That dude would intellectually slay me. He really would. But I had to do it.
He just came out in support of Rand Paul, so.
Actually, I kind of agree. I'm not going to vote, of course not, but I actually thought that Walter's point was pretty good.
Government will make sure that you vote, sir.
Hear me out.
Nikki was going to say something, though, real quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if you violence at home, I mean, all right, so if we're looking at it in terms of spanking children, for example, all right, well, so we all know it's probably a bad idea to hit your husband or wife. It's actually pretty illegal. You're not going to, hit your neighbors. You're not going to hit elderly people. So why would you hit a small child that isn't capable of, defending themselves? And people say, oh, well, they don't have the logic to be able to know that they did something wrong, and that's why we need to hit them. Well, you could also argue that an elderly person with Alzheimer's or dementia also doesn't have the logic to know that they've done something wrong, but are you going to hit them? Right. I mean, you look at any psychological research, and children that have been exposed to violence in the home are more likely to have health issues. They're more likely to have mental health issues. Their sleep patterns are off. They're everything. They're more likely to be re-victimized. They're more likely to act out violence themselves. They're more likely to be angry or depressed. They're more likely to have difficulty in personal and intimate relationships. I mean, they're more likely to be imprisoned. The list of things that, violence inspires in people and the negative effects is just huge. And for people to say, well, even every once in a while, violence at home is okay or even necessary, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's just completely ignoring the facts.
I'm going to say cut. Roll credits, that's a wrap.
Yeah, that was amazing. There's not really a whole lot I can add. I mean, Nikki pretty much nailed everything. There's not much I can add to that. But what I would like to say is that I do practice peaceful parenting, my wife and I, and we do not hit our daughter. We hardly yell at her. We don't. We try to be as peaceful as possible. And I think if it gets to a point, if your child is doing something to the point where you want to smack them across the mouth or crack them on the ass or whatever, you really got to stop and try and figure out why are they acting this way to begin with. Children are so small and they have such enormous sized emotions that are trying to come out of a tiny body, and they can have a lot of trouble processing that sometimes, which is why you'll see a little girl cry over cereal or something like that, because they just don't know how to process that. And when they have that emotional meltdown like that, if you crack them across the mouth, think of what you're doing to them psychologically. They're already in what they perceive as trauma. Just because you don't think it's serious doesn't mean the kid doesn't think it's serious.
Right.
So they're experiencing this emotional trauma, and you're adding to it by causing physical pain. I mean, why do you do this to your child? To the people who say, "Oh, it's not violence if you do it right," to which I say, "Oh yeah, you're right. Just slapping my wife across the face for overcooking dinner, that's not violence, as long as I'm doing it right."
I think there is a case to be made about in teaching your child about respect for property and possibly some repercussions of destruction of someone else's property or threatening to do that. But like someone said earlier, good ideas don't require force.
I mean, and if your complaint is, well, my child doesn't have logic and doesn't understand why this is wrong or why they're in trouble, like, why can't you teach them? I mean, that's a perfect parenting moment. If they don't understand, help them understand. Use words,
Sheppy, what do you think?
I think that violence is terrible no matter who it happens to, especially children. Like, Nikki summed it up very, very well earlier. I can't really add anything to that.
Sorry.
Between the two statements that Nikki and Jon just made, I don't think we would need to continue the damn show.
Hey, Michael, just stop trying to end the show. We got another half an hour to go.
We have a lot of beers over here.
Yeah, let's talk about the roads. No, I'm kidding.
We could always talk about beards.
Beards.
Hey!
We could always discuss beards. Always.
I don't even like to have a beard. I just think that shaving is a tremendous pain in the ass.
My girlfriend's in college right now. She's in psychology, or one of her psych classes. Her teacher said that men with beards have a propensity to disobey authority, something around that.
I would require some validation on that one, to be honest.
Right here.
My subjective opinion, like,
yeah, right.
quite a few Google Hangouts, and there's a lot of guys in the movement with beards. So, I don't know. Anecdotal evidence isn't really valid, but
You know what? There's also a lot of hipsters with beards.
Yeah. And Nikki, if us punk rockers here know anything, we know the cancer that fucking movement.
There's nothing wrong with getting a scone and reading some literature with you, in a full suit from the 1800s,
I agree, man. I don't do that, but I like to get snazzy. I just bought a bow tie.
I live in Alabama. Hipsters, they don't exist in this area.
Nikki and Josh are near Boston. I'm in Rhode Island. I'm fucking surrounded by these leftist fucking hipsters who wear girls' pants and like want the state to fucking kill me, and it's not that. It's not that.
Yeah, you're really cornered in Rhode Island. You got fucking Rhode Island, and you got Connecticut and Massachusetts, and fucking miles and miles and miles of ocean.
And miles and miles and miles of ocean, and then comes Great Britain. And how's the European Union doing, guys? They're hot. Sorry.
Well, in any case, I'm moving to New Hampshire. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. So
I'm
a country boy. Ain't happening.
South Carolina, it will happen.
That's the guy who's clearly never been to New Hampshire, because I lived in Texas for over 5 years, and New Hampshire is so much more hip than Texas. Or Louisiana.
You may have missed, but I live in Alabama.
And Sheppy's over there in Wisconsin, correct?
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I mean, that explains the beard, for real. That does it.
I'm over here visiting Jon, and we're in the Constitution state right now.
Fail.
Constitution state in which I'm not allowed to own a magazine over 7 fucking rounds.
Spoiler alert, I bought one in Rhode Island and gave it to Jon anyways. Fuck you, No, I'm not going to be quiet. Why would I not say that? How is that bad?
Dude, the ETF is like right outside your door. Like right now.
What's going to happen?
I'm looking at my pocket constitution, and it does say restrictions may apply to the Second Amendment. I'm just saying. You might want to recheck it, you know?
Well, are the batteries included at least?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the batteries for the dildo that's going to fuck you in the ass for the rest of your life. That one? Yeah.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, that's it.
You guys don't want to know how I really feel.
I really do.
I think that I'm going to be put in a cage if I say how I really feel. No, you guys know, everybody knows how I feel. I don't fucking sugarcoat anything. I just admit, I'm already receiving a very high number of death threats, and I just said that I'm a racist on the air. I have no filter. None.
So, I have a question for you guys, being a little bit more philosophic here. When we grow up, we're liberals, or generally speaking. Some people grow up anarchist, and I envy, John's child over there.
Yeah,
so,
my daughter with a status. So look at her like, how do you want to build the what?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, somehow we converted to libertarian, and some people just go straight over to conservatism, but some people, become libertarian and then stick with it, and they usually end up minarchist. But some become anarchist, but some libertarians end up converting to conservatism. Like, what makes them leave liberty? Like all of a sudden they start thinking, oh, we got to protect our country or whatever.
One word. Fear. That's it. It's fear.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Indoctrination.
Yeah, and it's the lack of syllogy, first principles, being able to bring a logical thought to its conclusion and not critically think. That's what it is. They get frustrated, just like I am, I'm not going to deny that, but they get frustrated and they're like, what the fuck is the point of trying to be free because it's never going to happen? And I can actually sympathize with that a little bit. And for the record, I was never a leftist. I was never a liberal. I was in the military. I was a neocon. I wanted to turn fucking Iraq into a Walmart. So,
right.
I mean, I have my issued at birth Bible, so I was a conservative since age 1.
Well, I don't know. I think fear is a very astute way of putting it, of what the deciding and dividing factor is. But I think I was actually just thinking about this today on my way home from work as I was speeding crazily trying to get home in time to come on.
Thank you.
And I think, like, so when, at least for me, when I first got into the movement, we'll say, of libertarianism and then voluntarism, I was sort of like engrossed in politics, and I used politics and the news items and, the war on gun owners and all these things as a context to be able to learn about the philosophical thought and everything that comes along with it. And as time has progressed, like, I don't want to call it a sort of enlightenment because that just sounds really pretentious and awful, but I think some people, like myself at least, just at one point reach this sort of pinnacle of philosophical thought, and I am by no means a philosopher, but at that point you're like, okay, so these are my beliefs, and government is bad, and this is why, and then these are all the logical conclusions that follow, and then after that you just sort of, all the politics and little trivial mundane things that you needed before to put it all in context don't really matter anymore, and then you just sort of exit, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I know that you can't just sit someone down and say, well, this is the philosophy of anarchy or voluntarism, and explain it to them, because most people need some kind of context to fill in the blanks and some way to understand it. And what I struggle with is because, like, I don't really give a shit about politics anymore or any of these really crazy things that are happening in the world. Like, I've figured it out. Like, I'm done. But I struggle with paying attention enough to provide that context for other people. And so maybe other people on their journey just don't make the connections, or they don't get the context, and they don't figure out, like, the root underlyings of all these things, and they can't come to their own logical conclusions. I don't know if that made sense.
I think that most of the other people who don't come to these conclusions are happy with me being put in a cage for healing my body with something that improves my life. So I don't really give a flying fuck about providing them with content. But Nikki, I do love your work. I like your game.
Let me give you some of my context here, because what I'm thinking is, when I got into politics or whatever, it was after college. Like, I didn't give a crap about what was going on in general. AKA, I was an anarchist and I didn't know it. And then I, started caring, and Obama and McCain and all that in 2008, and Ron Paul and all that. And I got into that. And it's like, I started caring, and then I started thinking I had to be part of that paradigm, and so it took me a while to break out of it. But at the same time, I thought I was liberal my whole life because I was told I was liberal, like up until after college. So whatever. I was an anarchist, though, and nobody really knows it, because if you don't care about how other people live their lives, then that means that you only care about your life and you're not paying attention. You're buttoned out. You're an anarchist.
I called myself an anarchist in high school, but that was only because punk rock and because reasons. Like, I didn't know what that word meant at all. But then I became a horrible nationalist and a crazy government supporter, a government agent. I was definitely not an anarchist my whole life. I've been a moron. But I agree with you that I never cared either way.
It's funny that you mention, punk rock, because I always, when people say, well, like, how did you become, like, a libertarian and then, like, a voluntarist or anarchist, I always go back to this memory. There was this specific moment in time that I always remember where I was walking down the street with one of my friends in high school, and I was telling her how I had, like, discovered punk rock and how awesome it was, and, like, I said to her, like, oh, well, I guess it makes sense that I like punk rock, because I never really liked rules. And I was, like, 15 or something, and now, like, I come full circle, and I'm like, oh, it makes sense that I'm an anarchist, because I never really liked rules.
Do any of you guys know anybody in the world who likes rules?
No, not really. Well,
Yes.
wait.
Yep, the political class.
Stupid people like rules.
Okay, do you guys know any reasonable people who like rules?
No.
Yeah.
Reasonable, no.
Well, I think I like rules. I don't like rulers.
We all know people who love rules. I mean, how many fucking times a day do you hear someone like, there ought to be a law against X, Y, Z. You hear these people every day. They crave laws. They love this authority over them.
Right. And when I say not liking rules, I mean rules as being rules that are backed by force.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't like all rules.
There ought to be a law against laws.
Well, if I'm ever going to support a law, okay. I'll vote for it. Let's do it.
That could be like the only law in existence.
If we can ban banning, I will fucking throw my principles out the window and run for office. Fuck it.
Okay, so officially, Joe, yes, he is Bruce Banner.
I love that is amazing, guys. Oh God, do I want to? I'm a really big comic book fan, and I appreciate that. But
Yeah, and Hulk's my favorite.
I don't want to talk about film. Not yet. I'll give it a few weeks, and I'm going to rant really hardcore about this. I don't want to spoil.
No spoils, yeah. All right, so.
Yeah, that's when I just rip the shirt off. Fuck. I'm angry. I'm in a pretty good mood right now.
Yeah, you are.
You're in a good mood right now? That's kind of scary.
Yeah. What do you want me to do, man?
Just wanted to start wrapping up the show, though. So think of one last topic we can go through while I go through the currency. So last time we did the show was April 27th, and it's now May 4th while we're doing this live. So last time we did the show, silver was $16.34. Tonight it was $16.43. It's gone up a whole freaking 9 cents. That's 0.6%. Gold has gone from $11.9965 to $11.8754. That's $12.11. That's 1%. And Bitcoin has gone from $229.14 to $238.79. That's $9.65, 4.2%. Right. So not a lot of change. Yeah, definitely, Nikki. Get some money, man. Get into Bitcoin. Get into silver. Whatever. I would just pay Joe silver.
Why would you not be doing this?
Yeah, Nikki.
Like, do you trust the dollar? Like, why are you...
No, I mean, I have silver. I'm just saying because, gold is going down. Like, get that Skrilla. Yeah. I'm getting married at the end of next month. If anyone wants to give me silver or gold or Bitcoin, I'll totally take it.
Yeah, I'm not going to... We've had this discussion, and I'm not going to do a goddamn thing until I have my invitation, so... No, I'm just kidding. It's a wedding. I get it. We've only hung out one time ever, so... I get it.
Can we talk about how insane it is to pledge allegiance to a inanimate object?
Oh yeah, like stomping on flags. Oh no, not that. Stomping on flags.
I mean, just the butthurt that these people get because they can't even realize how propagandized and indoctrinated they are. It just blows my mind. I was never like that, ever. Even when I was the biggest flag-waving conservative, if I saw someone burning the flag or whatever, I'd be like, oh well. That doesn't defeat the idea of America.
Maybe they were cold and wanted to get warm. And that's all they had.
No, like...
If you guys burning a flag, I would violently assault.
Stomping on the symbols of tyranny does not reduce tyranny.
Right. It doesn't.
So why get butthurt about it?
I made that little video, and I'm sure you guys know, and I don't want to talk about it too much. I bought that flag with my own money from a private business. I don't have it anymore. I had the receipt. It is by definition my property, so I don't see how that's hurting anybody.
That's government's property. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, what I will say is, like, just to back up your one point really quick, I have many thousands and thousands and thousands of death threats in my Facebook inbox right now. So yeah, they'll violently support their oppressors. It's called, like, and Nikki could probably touch on this one. It's called, like, Stockholm syndrome, I think.
Yep.
I got called a terrorist the other day for just arguing with people. That was pretty cool.
I get called a terrorist and then get death threats daily. It feels like.
As far as the flag goes, I mean, we can sit here and debate this all night. We could sit here and debate this for the next 2 hours about why it's so crazy that people are doing this, and we can't understand their behavior when we trash the flag and they get all pissed off at us. But this is the result of 13 years of every day going, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And it's this indoctrination for years and decades, really. And
I never stood for the pledge.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all know somebody who hasn't. I mean, I was never really a big flag waver, even when I was a statist. But, I mean, a lot of people are that really gets you. And, you know, pulling my daughter out of school, I think, was one of the best things. That was not the main reason, obviously, but that's certainly a nice bonus of that won't be there.
I actually got in trouble in grade school for not saying the pledge, so then I just like stood there and looked bored.
I don't think that people understand exactly what that means. I don't think that people know what an oath is. What you're saying is that you're willing to die for that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about some fucking cloth and ink.
But
That's crazy.
You're also taught not to question that. You're taught like this is what's going on. You love your country. You pledge allegiance, and don't you question it.
What we're talking about here is idolization. It's a very dangerous thing. And I'm going to shout it out one more time. I think somebody already did, but please, guys, and Larkin should never talk about feminism ever again. He does not know he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to say that race culture is due to institutionalized government, and that makes no fucking sense in the world. But his book, The Most Dangerous Superstition, breaks down astutely and very accurately the fact that government is a religion. And I would recommend everybody in the world needs to read that book, especially people who call themselves atheists.
Well,
there we go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys what happened back when I was in 3rd grade. I knew a girl that was, she was in my class or whatever, and she wouldn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I did, and yes, I got emotional because that's what you're meant to do, correct? So
that's definitely not what you're meant to do. That's what you're programmed.
Right. Well, it's the brainwash. And so my thing is, I asked her one day why the hell she doesn't actually get up, and she's like, "Well, it's I'm
in a wheelchair.
My family or whatever. My family doesn't want me to do it, and so she doesn't, or she didn't, right?" And eventually, her parents pulled her out, which was great. And I was still curious as hell what was going on, and but I never processed it. I didn't get it. I wasn't smart enough back then. So, but now I get it. It makes perfect sense. You're not supposed to make an oath, like you said. That's basically it's a promise. It's a kiss on the ring. That's an oath. A real kiss on the ring to a king. So, yeah, that's what you're doing when you pray.
I'm expecting kisses at this current time.
Say what?
My last name in real life is King, and I'm expecting kisses at this current time, if anybody didn't.
Right. I saw that. But, yeah, so I guess we might as well wrap this up. I guess we'll go down the line here. Just shout out where you come from, what your page is, and all this other stuff. Dave?
I co-host a podcast. You can find everything about that podcast at theseedsofliberty.com. We have a really new, exciting show coming out. It features an ex-police officer who also served in Iraq and an ex-military person for 19 years in the military. He retired in E6, or he quit as an E6. And they're going to be doing a show for us, basically just asking questions about for servicemen, cops, or that are curious about voluntarism. Send the questions there. They're going to answer them, because it's the horse's mouth thing. When me, who's never been a police or a military person who has served or anything, or served, starts talking to somebody that's military or even ex-military, eventually, somewhere in the conversation is going to be, shut the hell up, you never served, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, when someone can say, well, I was in Iraq and I was also a police officer, so come again? What were you thinking? That's the whole goal of that show. But we do a weekly show, comes out every Monday, called The Seeds of Liberty, and it's all about planting seeds. It's not about what some people like to do. We call it starting fires, just coming in and trying to bash the wall down. No one learns that way. You're not going to change any minds. Well, you might change a few minds, but you're going to change a lot more minds, tricking people into believing that they figured this stuff out for themselves.
Yeah, agreed. That's awesome.
And I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks, Mike. And,
yeah, definitely.
If you ever want to collaborate again in the future, man, we're definitely down.
What was that?
If you ever want to collaborate again in the future, we're absolutely down, man. This was a great time.
Yeah, Nikki?
All right. I'm Libertydoll, thelibertydoll.com. On Facebook, Liberty Doll. I have a YouTube channel that I will totally update after this episode with things from this episode.
Maybe.
I expect royalties.
And
I'm gonna go subscribe right now.
Yeah, Sheppy?
Where to start? Liberty Rockstar, Sheppy's Juice Club, Comic Sans Anarchy 42. You won't be able to find that last one, but that's okay.
Oh, is it gone now?
No, it's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret now. Okay.
Probably shouldn't say secrets on record, but.
John.
I'm John. I run the New Sons and Daughters of Liberty. That's my main focus, but lately, as I mentioned a few times before, I also do work for a page called Raising Common Sense Anarchists. It's a parenting page. We go over peaceful parenting, unschooling, pretty much everything in that realm, free-range parenting, all that kind of stuff. And it really is quickly becoming a passion of mine. I think parenting absolutely is a great step to raising common sense anarchists and not raising a bunch of state worshiping slaves. So yeah, I love that page, and I recommend everyone go check it out.
John.
I got one more.
John. Oh, sorry.
Common Sense Agorism. Check that one out.
Yeah, that's kind of the big one. There we go. Yeah, so, Michael, yeah, you want to shout out your own YouTube channel, Michael?
Yeah, God, you love to skip me, Josh. Oh my God.
No? You're the co-host, bro.
But I'm also shameless, so let's go. I'm not gonna do it all. I do some Facebook pages, and I don't really fucking care about them. I care about the Currency of Anarchy Facebook page that you guys
thank you.
check out. But I also do another podcast that's much more angry and alcohol fueled. That I kind of just have my one or two friends come on and hang out. John comes on all the time. Josh has been on. Nikki's been on. And we kind of just chill and talk shit. That's called Abolishing Authority with Michael Freeman. Entertainment is job one. Philosophy, economics, sociology. That kind of comes second. I'm really just trying to chill with my friends and be able to take cunts as many times as I want to. I guess. And there's a Facebook page for that show too. David, I'm going to talk to you after the fact to bring you on there, I think. And that's about it. I don't really care about the rest. I guess check out my YouTube video, I suppose.
Sort of.
Hashtag Eric Shepherd Challenge Libertarian Response video. It's really been making the rounds, and I've been getting lots of death threats. It's kind of crazy. I'm an idiot because I didn't YouTube it before I Facebooked it, so I couldn't monetize it, because I could really be sitting on like $500 right now.
Whew.
But lesson learned, if I ever do that.
Controversy creates cash, Michael. I tried to tell you.
I know.
All those death threats are bullshit. They're bullshit.
It's just a little silly video. It's not that big of a deal. It's probably cool if you're a libertarian. If not, you're probably going to think I'm a maniac. But check it out, too. I don't know. That's all I got.
You just have a problem with authority and God and law, boy.
Yeah, fuck God. It seems to me that either of those things are real, and maybe we can move forward.
Right. So on the next episode, though, I may or may not be there, but it seems that I might actually be able to make it. I'll keep you posted, Michael.
The bigger thing is, why won't you be there, Scott?
Right. So I'm moving, and I may or may not have cable set up in the new place. So just to keep you apprised, I may or may not be there. But Michael will certainly be there, and
I'm gonna have to tune in to find out.
Yeah, that's it, man. Tune in.
I'm gonna have to tune in.
Next time on what is that? May 11th. So next show is May 11th, and we will have Holly Cogburn and Adam Williams, and both of which are they're big fans of this show. So, and Holly, man, she advertises with us. I mean, come on, that's awesome.
Holly Cogburn was the very first benefactor this show ever had. And you should really go check out Homebody if you're an ANCAP or a libertarian and you like soap and cleaning products, like for your body. And that's not my so much, but she runs
She's trying to make her own shaving cream, and I may actually get into that because right now I do it the Jeffrey Tucker way. I don't actually shave with shaving cream right now. So, maybe she'll get me back into it. Who knows?
Yeah, me neither.
Damn.
Yeah, you're looking good, Sheppy, man.
Nice.
So everyone, take it easy. Thank you all for watching, and everybody say goodbye.
Bye.